Elaine Violet usually parked in front of her house and her car, and they had just got home and they were parking and uh, looked up the street and here came Lance. He'd turned a corner off Avalon Avenue and was coming down Astelot Street toward them, and so they waited and watched. And as he got near the house or to the house, he turned and headed his bike back the alley to go around behind. But he waved and had a big smile on his face because he knew he looked funny. So he went back there, and they went in the house, and when they went out to meet him, and he managed to get this box off his back, and it was such an odd thing. He said, I know you just want a explanation of what is this, and I'll tell let me go up and clean up a little bit, and I'll tell you at supper. We're gonna have supper, and and Violet said, "What a silly question, of course." So he took the box up to the room he was staying in. That was Yeoman's old room, and he took it up there and then changed his clothes. Well, he washed up. He didn't really have a change. He changed his shirt. Didn't have much of a change of clothes. He was, traveling light. And after a bit went down, and at supper he explained that he'd stopped at a music store that he'd seen was there, because there was something he was wanting to get for a cousin of his, that he was really, really fond of, and if he'd had a chance, he really thought she'd like it, and but the music store didn't have it. But they said maybe if you go to the pawn shop, because there was a pawn shop there too, nearby, and he did, and by golly, they had it, and so he bought it unquestioned. He was so happy, and they put it in this big box. It wasn't very heavy. And he knew he was going to look pretty silly, but he didn't care. So he got it, and he said he was going to he'd have to mail it in the morning. And let's see, this was Thursday. Well, yeah, it was too late. Friday morning, he'd mail it before he'd set off on his journey home. And Elaine right away said, "Well, I'll do that for you. I'll just drive down. You don't want to have to go to the post office to mail that. You're going to need to get on your way." And he said, "Boy, that would be wonderful if you'd do that for me. I'll get the label ready, and I'll have everything ready, and I'll leave you some money for postage." And she said, "No, let me just mail it. If you want to pay me the postage, you can do that later. Give me an excuse to stay in touch with you, because I like you." That was an understatement. So anyway, that was done. But then, at supper, Lance said, "You two have been so hospitable. Hospitality, I've never seen anything like it. You've taken me in as if you're part of the family. How in the world can I repay you? I know that you, Violet, don't want to be repaid. I know that. What can I do?" And Violet had an answer. She said, "Pass it on. If you get an opportunity to be hospitable to somebody else, be even more hospitable than we've been. Just pass it on." That's the way that works. And then she said something kind of surprising. She said, "We've spent a bunch of time watching Shakespeare and stuff. I actually studied Shakespeare in ninth grade." That's about the last I studied it some, but we had to read a play called The Merchant of Venice. And we had to do it. It was the class guided us through it. And, I didn't like it very much. There's things about that play I didn't like. We missed it last night when we were down there at Deltaville. It's the one that was on. I'm just as glad because there's things I don't like about that play, but there's one speech in it that really is special, and we were assigned with having to memorize it. I didn't do well. I only memorized a little bit of it, but it's called the Quality of Mercy speech. Maybe you've heard of it. And Lance said, "No, I don't think so." And Violet said, "It's a wonderful speech. The quality of mercy is unstrained. It droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath." That's about all she could remember. But she said, "What I do remember, though, is the part where it said, 'It blesses he that gives and he that receives mercy. It ennobles kings.'" It's a wonderful speech, and you should sometime look at it. But that's the way hospitality is. It ennobles the one who is hospitable, and it ennobles the one who receives the hospitality. So there you go. You see, I know a little bit of Shakespeare too, and well, Lance was impressed. So was Elaine. Maybe I should call her Mandy since we're back at home. They were impressed too, and said, "Well, speaking of Shakespeare, what is there a movie on tonight?" And they'd already looked, and she said, "Yeah, tonight is Love's Labour's Lost."